Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, California Resources Corporation, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, and the San Luis Obispo County Office of Education, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Do the Math. I'm Michael.
This is Joost. And for those of you in Bakersfield, if you want to call in, your number is 636-4357. Those of you in San Luis Obispo County, save your dime. It's a toll-free number. It's 1-866-636-6284. Also, you can get a hold of us an email at dothemath@kern.org. You can watch us online at dothemathonline.net. And of course, we have a very strong social media presence at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
You know, people would not probably think that we're as old as we are.
Not at all.
Because we're good-looking guys.
That's right.
But you could probably tell how old we are when you said, save yourself a dime, and both of us knew what you were referring to instead of a quarter or even a payphone at all.
That's true.
Right, because there are, I would probably guess, because the students behind the camera, have you guys ever seen a payphone? Have you ever used one?
Yeah.
So you've seen one and
I've never used
you've
one.
never used one, but you've seen one.
Yeah.
All right. Aaron, have you ever seen or used a payphone?
I have.
And where were you? Do you remember where this was? Or
I know that Disneyland has a bunch of payphones around, and like the airports have payphones.
okay. Not too many kids. You know what? They're in high school, so let's go 8th grade and under. I bet you none of them ever have. We'll ask our guest when she comes up a little bit later on. Anyway, we do have a very special guest in the studio. We'll be going out to Wall Street Imprintables with Marylou out there in just a little bit. Those are the fine folks that make the Do the Math t-shirts.
Oh, yes.
And
They
you
are
can
fantastic.
only get those by being on air here as a guest on Do the Math. We'll get to our phone calls, and as a reminder, we are also at the beginning of our Do the Math 5th grade call-in contest. So if you're a 5th grade student and you phone in, you definitely want to make sure you give us your instructor's name, at least the homeroom, if you go to a different classroom for math. That way we can tally up all of the calls, and the 5th grade that phones in the most often during the month of November will win themselves an on-air appearance from Do the Math. Top students will be receiving some prizes. All of the students in the classroom will be receiving something. So that is going on during the entire month of November, the 5th grade call-in contest. Before we get to all of the other activities, let's first take a look at today's Math in the News. All right. So tonight is Game 7 of the World Series this year. Are you into that at all? You've been watching it, interested in it?
Very interested in the games. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and are you rooting for one team or just a baseball fan in general, and whoever wins, wins?
I'm rooting for one team,
And that team would be?
the Houston Astros.
The Houston Astros. Check that out.
Yeah, it just
Sweet.
makes for a lively conversation in the city of Bakersfield.
Indeed it does, because there are a lot of LA fans here. Baseball season ended for me last week when the Yankees were knocked out, but it is a Game 7. Always fun, always interesting, always exciting. It seems like at least the American League Series and the World Series have been close, and a lot of things happening, and hopefully that trend continues tonight to make an exciting Game 7. And of course, I'm sure big fans of either team would like to see a boring game where their team is dominating from the outset.
Sure.
But anyway, do you have any idea the amount of money these guys are getting for playing in the World Series?
I want to see this. I'm going to share this very sophisticated answer. A lot.
Indeed, you are correct. A
Thank
lot.
you. Thank you.
Let's take a look at the graph that we've got right here. And we can take a look that this starts back in 1985 and goes all the way up through last year. Now, in 1985, the Kansas City Royals won. They each received $76,000 for winning.
Oh my goodness.
Now, that was back in 1985. The 2015 Kansas City Royals, who won, received over $370,000
Wow.
per. Okay? So what happened is they get this bonus pool, and so the winning team and they get 60%. The other 40% gets split up between all of the other teams that are in it. And then it's up to the team how they divide that up. So the general manager, the owner, they don't have anything really to do with it. It's up to the players on the team how that gets divided up. Now, some people, they give support staff a portion of it. So they count them in, like the players and the clubhouse manager and things like that. And I mean, it's just astonishing to see. The league's minimum salary is $507,000. So if you play Major League Baseball, the minimum amount that you're going to get is $507,000.
$507,000.
Right, that's the minimum.
That's like
So you play
6 digits.
Major League Baseball. I know we don't see that, do we? Well, you might. You work on the upper floors here. But you play in the World Series, you're going to be getting close to $400,000 because you made the World
Yes.
Series and are a champion after tonight. So it's just interesting to see the range of amounts of money that these people have been getting since 1985, where back then those guys are probably thinking that's a lot of money, but you take a look at it 30 years later, and it's not really that much at all. And anyway, that is today's Math in the News. 636-4357 is the phone number. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30 on most Tuesdays and Wednesdays throughout the regular school year. In studio with us right now, we have Serenity. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm wonderful myself. Why don't you let everybody know where you go to school and what grade you're in?
I go to school at Laurelglen Elementary, and I'm in 6th grade.
6th grade. So you're at the home of the Scots, am I correct?
Yes.
And how long have you been there?
Since 3rd grade.
Since 3rd grade. You like it pretty much? Mm-hmm. Ben? What's the best thing about 6th grade?
I would say you get to know everybody better, so you have more people that you can rely on.
There you go. So more friends, more people you can rely on. Do you know if your school goes to Camp Keep?
Yes, we do.
Have you gone yet?
No, we go later in the year.
Okay, well, you know what? Later in the year, if I were to ask you again, the best thing about 6th grade, I bet what's going to come out of your mouth is going to be Camp Keep. Have you heard anything about this?
I heard you go on a dock, and I heard that there are snakes.
Both of those are correct. You will be on a dock, and you will probably see snakes. But I'm sure you will be safe 100%. There will be nothing to worry about. But this will be one of the great memories you have during 6th grade year when you go to Camp Keep. You looking forward to it? Good. You know what? You can come back and tell us about it. How that?
Okay.
All right. You know what? We have a couple of minutes before we go out to Wall Street Imprintables. So how about if we go on over to the board? And I know you brought your homework. This is one of the problems that you need to work on, correct?
Yes.
All right. So why don't you head over to the board with Joost? I'll read the problem to you guys. Joost will put it up there, and then Serenity, you'll work on it. So we have 2.3n
2.3n
minus 3.2
minus 3.2
plus 4.1
plus 4.1
is equal to
equals to
negative 6.
negative 6. There you go, Serenity. What are you going to do first?
Well, first you have to combine like terms. So you could go like that and like that.
Awesome. So this is the move of combining like terms.
So then you'd subtract 4.1 with 3.2. And you would get
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Serenity's moving off to the side right now, doing a little bit of work on the side here. So taking advantage of the full screen. She's doing a great job. Look at that move, ladies and gentlemen. She's regrouping right before our very eyes. All right, Serenity, what number do you have there?
0.9, so
Okay.
it'd be 2.3. 3n, then positive 0.
Just kind of make it like a little circle right there. There you go.
0.9 equals negative 6.
Awesome.
So then you want to get rid of this. So you'd subtract 0.9 from both sides.
All right. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. You're seeing it right before your very eyes, subtracting negative 0.9 from each side of the equation.
So then you're left with 2.3, and this cancels out. It's equal to negative 5.1.
Okay.
And I'm going to move the screen a little up for you so you have some more room to work. And I think Joost will work with you on what you just completed.
Yeah, I think we're gonna call a timeout. A timeout, right? Can't we call timeout? It's baseball season. I don't think they call timeout. So it is something else. Let's look at this part right here. We have negative 6, and you have this negative 0.9, right? That you have right here, and so you're combining. Oh, we had the O effect. Do you want us to clarify what you mean by O?
I did it wrong.
You did it wrong? How would you do it differently?
So the total.
Let's go ahead and do that again with confidence. There you go. Awesome. So now that's disappeared. We're regrouping, and what are you going to do next?
So it would be, since they're both negatives, they would turn.
All right, we're getting closer, and we're going to call another timeout. Okay, another timeout. So if you did a negative times a negative, you would certainly get a positive. Okay.
But it's negative.
And so you're adding. You have a negative plus a negative.
So it'd be an even bigger negative.
Yeah.
So it'd be negative.
All right.
6.
Okay. Great job.
Then you would divide both of these by 2.3.
Okay, what we're seeing right here, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're dividing each side by 2.3.
And I'll move that screen for you, Serenity, a little bit so you have some more room.
Just like magic.
So then you'd cross out those, and you'd be left with n equals
All right, let's think about this. Let's do another timeout. Okay, so let me ask you this question. Okay, now tell me, how did you get that first 3?
because you do this divided by this, and you get this.
And I'll interpret that as negative 6 divided by 2, you got negative 3, right?
Yes.
But shouldn't we, and then what'd you do, how'd you do that other 3?
So you'd get 9 divided by 3 equals 3, but we could have done it like this.
Okay.
So then 23 can't go into 6. 23 can go into 69 though.
Okay.
So that
So
would
just to
be-
clarify, she's talking about 23 going to 69.
So
I really think it's awesome how Serenity moves off to the side and does a little bit of work there.
times So the actual answer would be n
All right, doing some nice work, cleaning up some of that. Okay.
You can just erase right on that. There you go.
There you go.
Might
That's a
be
good
easier.
tool. Awesome.
So the real answer would be n equals 0.3, but we still have the negative.
Okay, all right, let's take a step back and you've done some great math right here. Now let's just think about this kind of conceptually, all right? Let's say that this was 6 on top and this was 3 on the bottom. I'm just going to round, okay? Like 6.0 and 3.0, we'd have number like 2, right? Or if we had 6 over 3, our answer would be 2. If it was 6 over 2, our answer would be 3. So we have negative 6 over 2, even though we got some decimals here. Do you think this answer would be more likely 3 or 0.3?
It'd probably be more likely 0.3 because you have the decimal, and when you do it here, the decimal place just goes straight up.
Okay, so doing that part of it, if you're following the rules, you probably move your decimal over here and then over there to do that. And
So
then
it would be 3 exactly.
Yeah,
There you go.
there
So
you
it's
go.
3.
So erase that. N equals 3.
And
but
it's
we
good
have
how
the
you remember that negative symbol in there as well, so nicely done. N is equal to negative 3. 636-4357 is the phone number. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30. Right now we're going to go out to Wall Street Imprintables and meet with Marylou.
We are live today at Wall Street Imprintables, and I am with owner Stella Webby. Hello. Well, thank you for inviting us today.
Thank you for coming.
Can you tell us how long you have been in business?
Well, we have been in business for 37 years, since 1980.
And how did you get involved with Wall Street?
We went to a family reunion, and Dominic and I decided to make some shirts, have some shirts imprinted with a friend of ours. And we made shirts for every family, a different color. And when we took the shirts back east to Boston, everyone was so emotionally connected to all the shirts because every shirt was per family. And we saw that we were two young kids, 23 and 25, looking for work, looking for a job. And we saw the emotional connection and the happiness that shirts brought to people, our family. And we decided, let's open up a t-shirt company.
Now, you were saying earlier you had no background in this at all.
No experience whatsoever, except that shirts make people happy.
So you have just been training yourself, learning, self-taught.
Dominic and I were self-taught from the beginning. We had no, you'll see back here is a dryer. Well, back in the day we couldn't afford the dryer, so we would have to make the screens out in the sun. And we would actually have to time it in the sun. And we would crawl out the window. We were over Guthrie's Alley Cat, second story, 440 square feet. And we would go out the window and burn the screen out there. And it was just mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake.
Until you got it.
Until we got it.
Wow. Well,
Yes.
can you tell us where we are right now in your warehouse?
In our warehouse, this is the screen printing department. We have 3 screen printing machines, and these are 2 automated machines. This is a manual press, and this is where we do all of our R&D. We love to do R&D. We love to create new looks on t-shirts, new styles, new ink. So this is where we practice all of our R&D before we put it on the press. And so this is our screen printer, one of our screen printers, Russell, Oxford. And as you can see, we need 2 people on each machine, one to put the shirt on, and then one to take the shirt off and put it in the dryer.
Okay, now what is going on here? Because I see there's numbers. There's numbers 1 through 12. What does that represent?
Each screen, it depends. This machine can print 12 colors on one shirt, 12 colors. So each screen represents a color. So right now, Russ is doing. Russ, how many colors are you doing on a shirt?
2 colors.
2 colors on a shirt right now.
So I see color right here. Is that a blue or a blue?
Yes, that's a blue. So you put all the ink inside there. And these are all the inks that they use. And then these are all the squeegees that go on the machine that press the color through the screen.
Okay. So I'm looking for if the shirt comes through. So when the shirt comes through underneath this white,
Yes.
then the paint kind of goes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and you'll see right here. Here, come on,
Okay.
on this side. You'll be able to see it better. So here you see the color here.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the first color.
That's the
now
one.
it has to get spot dried underneath here in order for you to lay another color on it.
Okay.
So you'll see here, they go around and around, so they can put 12 shirts going
On
at
that.
one time.
And then so we
Yes.
have the white, and then it's doing this drying, correct?
Yes.
And then it'll go over to where the blue is over there, and then put the blue
Right,
color
exactly,
on it.
exactly.
So each time.
Yes, and you can come over here and see it. And this machine can actually do 96 dozen shirts an hour if we really wanted to move it.
Wow.
Yes, 96 shirts a dozen.
And there you
And
go.
there it is right there. And then you can see the shirt being pulled off and you'll see the color on it. And you can stay behind this line.
Okay.
And you'll see right here.
And we can see that it's a little bit of color there. Wow, very impressive. Okay,
Yes.
besides, so this is the area with obviously with all the paint.
Yes,
So-
all the ink, yes.
All the ink. So where else? Where else do we go? What other mediums do you have besides?
Well,
the-
doing t-shirts is also just like doing pizza because this is our big oven and it's for both machines. So we have 2 here and 2 here. As soon as they take the shirt off, they put it through here and the oven is about 350 degrees. So it has to go through there for at least 2 minutes for it to be cured. So that when you wash it, the ink won't come off of it. So that's the second color right there.
Okay, so it's setting
Yes.
that color, make it so it doesn't come off.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
so besides here, well, because there's so many different departments, right?
Yes.
So when we come back, we'll go into another department,
Right,
which
right.
kind of has to do with our shirts.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I think we did those, didn't we?
I think you did. Okay, so we're going to send you back to the studio, and when we come back, we're going to check out how they made our shirts. So back to you at the studio.
All right, nicely done. Thank you for that, Marylou. 636-4357 is the phone number. Just a reminder, it is November 1st, and during the entire month of November, we are having our 5th grade call-in contest. So if you're any student, you can feel free to call in anytime you want, especially if you're a 5th grade student. Please make sure that you let us know your instructor's name or at least your homeroom teacher if you go to different classes during the day so that we can give you the appropriate credit for your classroom, because the 5th grade class that calls in the most during the month of November will win themselves an appearance and prizes and games and all sorts of stuff from Do the Math. So right now we're going to go to the phones. Truman, how are you today?
Hello?
Yes, how are you today?
Good.
Good. As soon as you're ready, let's hear the math problem that you're working on.
Oh, you want to hear it?
As soon as you're ready.
It says,
Okay, go ahead, Truman.
in a square, which is a rhombus, the lengths of the diagonals are the same. If a square has an area of 32 square feet, then what is the length of each diagonal?
So,
All right, so maybe draw a square up there.
okay, so it's this. So we have a square. Okay, so we have a square, and what other information was on the square?
It says the lengths of the diagonals are the same.
Okay.
That's all the information is.
Okay, the length of diagonals are the same on the square. Okay, were there any other numbers?
No.
No. So what's the problem?
Says what is the length of each diagonal?
What is the length of each diagonal? Okay, does it give us a number like the length of the side or the area of the square?
It says the area equals 32 feet.
Okay, so the area of the square is equal to 32 feet. Okay, so the area of the square is equal to
32 square feet.
32 square feet. Thank you. 32 square feet.
There we go.
There we go. Square feet. We don't have round feet, we have square feet. Okay, so the area is 32 square feet. So the area of the square is that if you multiply each side, you get the area of the square. So you could have S times S, if that would be our sides. Our sides s squared equals 32. So if we want to know the length of each side, we would take the square root of each side. So if we take the square root of s squared and the square root of 32, that's going to give us the length of each side. So we know that the length of each side of the square is 32. So that gives us that gives us some information. But what we really want to know this length right here. And so if we want to know that length, we know that we have a triangle and a side of square. So I'm going to just redraw that triangle over here with the dimensions of the square. And so we have the square root of 32 is this length of the square. I'm going to put that nice little right angle there. And we're going to put a square root of 32 on that side. And so now we're trying to figure out the length of this diagonal, which is the hypotenuse of a triangle. But if we know that we have Pythagorean's theorem, if we use Pythagorean's theorem, we know that if we square one side of a triangle and we add that to the square of the length of the other triangle, then that's going to give us the length of this diagonal. And we're going to call that C, or C squared. So this length right here is C.
You need me to move that screen at all for you for more room?
That would be fantastic. Need a little bit more room. Watch this, watch this. Awesome. Okay, so it goes right up. So now we're going to do this work. The square root of 32 squared is 32, plus the square root of 32 squared is 32. And that's going to be equal to C squared. You know what? I'm getting real excited right now. Are you getting really excited?
Yeah.
Serenity's learning as you're going along.
She's learning as you're going along. I am so excited because these numbers are amazing. Watch, check this out. 32 plus 32 is going to be equal to 64. That is so awesome. Because 64 equals C squared. Do I have a little bit more room?
By all means,
Mike?
Joost, here we go.
Can we all right, here's the magic moment. Because don't you like whole numbers? I really like whole numbers. So now we're going to take the square root of each side. And when the square root of 64 is 8, and that is equal to C, and that is the length of the diagonal of the square. That's C, that answer is 8. Actually, you could also be -8, because -8 times -8 is positive 64. But because we're dealing with real dimensions and they're positive, we're going to use this answer of 8.
And Truman, does that help you out?
Yes.
Okay, and let's see. I think the dimensions here, was it feet, inches? What were you dealing with in the first place?
It's square feet.
Feet.
Feet. Okay, so if we're going to apply the standard of mathematical practice number 6, which is about precision, we want to make sure that our answer is going to be in the proper units. And so the answer is 8 feet is the answer to this equation.
There you go. Nicely done, Truman. A great problem right there. Because of that, we're going to send you off with a free meal courtesy of our friends at Chick-fil-A. Congratulations on that. 636-4357 is the phone number. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30. We'll put Serenity back to work and visit Wall Street Imprintables again. We'll do it all right after this. We're in California City at Hacienda Elementary School, and today we're here to Today we're at Hacienda Elementary School, and I've got Blake. How are you?
Good.
You ready to go?
Yeah.
Can you read that for us?
8 3/4 plus 2 3/4.
Seems pretty easy, right? How do you want to start with this? What do you want to do first?
I want to add the fractions first.
Go ahead. So tell me how you got 12/4.
No, that's the one. That should be bigger. That's that's my whole.
Oh, so how did you get 1 2/4?
Because 3/4 plus 3/4 adds to equal 1 whole, because they're only both 1 away from the whole number, and so I added 3 plus 3, and that's 6, and then 6/4 it equals 1 whole, and then there's 2/4 left, and then I'm going to I forgot the word.
Simplify?
Yeah, simplify it into 1 1/2 to make it easier. And then I add the 2 whole numbers, which would be 10. And then I add those 2 together, and then it'd be 10 plus 1 1/2. And that equals 11 1/2.
You know, the beautiful thing about math problems is that with about 7 of us in this room, there are 7 different ways to solve a problem, and the way you explained it is different than the way some kids may go about it, but it was done perfect. Blake, I can't even help you with this one. Nice job.
Bringing together a bunch of exhibitors in the areas of science and engineering and math, and basically getting kids to realize that they don't have to go to Silicon Valley to have Silicon Valley type jobs. You know, there's a lot of really cool high-tech jobs right here in Kern County.
So this is a vocational way to get it. I would absolutely check into it.
Our job is ensuring a healthy economy for Kern County, and in order for that to happen, employers need to have employees that are trained and ready to go to work. Almost 20% of jobs in Kern County are STEM related. STEM jobs pay almost twice on average of a non-STEM job. If a person pursues a career in STEM, it's good for them, it's good for their family, and it's good for the business community.
They're just getting really excited, and it branches them out to different types of science and different things that are out there for them. So when they bring the robots here, they can share with everyone what they built, how they've built it, and then let others really enjoy their projects, and they get to teach about it, which is great.
Kids are programming, coding, they're doing all this stuff. They don't even realize that they're learning simple concepts of engineering. You'll see the Da Vinci robot, all the dexterity and fine motor skills that the kids are using in the robot program. You know, they could be neurosurgeons if they wanted to. Chevron's been supporting STEM for a number of years. I mean, you've seen our portfolio grow and expand to middle schools, high schools. We've started a Science for Kern. We're glad to open up some doors and opportunities.
Businesses may not even really understand the extent of the STEM-related training that's going on in the schools. Teachers need to understand what business is looking for when they're hiring people. So when those two groups of people, education and business, can get together and really talk about the overarching issues facing our community, then they can develop a path together. We can develop a path together, and that's what this symposium is.
And certainly was a great day out at Bakersfield College, the BC Symposium, something brand new that they started this year. As a matter of fact, a lot of the places that we visit on Wednesday afternoons are directly from that BC Symposium. As a matter of fact, that little robot that we saw at the very end right there was part of the ROC program, the Kern High School District Regional Occupation Center. And we had an opportunity to visit with those guys just a couple of weeks ago and see exactly how they work with all of those robotics. As a matter of fact, right now we're going to go back out, visit with Marylou at Wall Street Imprintables.
We are back live at Wall Street Imprintables with owner Stella Webby, and we have another visitor with us. Would you introduce her, please?
Yes, we are in the embroidery department because we talked about how embroidery is done on a t-shirt, on a shirt. And this is Yaya. She's the supervisor here in the embroidery department. So she's going to give you a couple of pointers.
Hi, so this is the embroidery department, and what we do here is we pretty much, with any piece of art that we receive, any digital print or piece of JPEG art, we convert it into an actual file which converts into stitches. So my job is to pretty much do something like this here, where this was a piece of art and now it's converted into stitches.
Now, you have a lot of machines here.
We do.
Can you kind of describe what's happening with the machines? If we could walk on over there to one.
Definitely. So we have 3 of these, which are 8-head machines, and each machine has 1 head. So each head controls 15 needles, which we can program and tell the sequence of how we need our threads to run. And that's what this computer does here. We program this computer with the design, the thread colors, and the stops that we need.
So you can have 8 items going at one time. Like these shirts, you could put 8 on there. And our shirt, is this just one color?
That's actually 2 colors. There's the royal blue for the and then the gray for the rest of the design.
So we would only be using 2 of those
We would
needles.
use 2 of these needles depending on where we program that color. Those are the colors we would use.
Okay, let's talk about price, because we were talking about that earlier, because there is math involved with this.
Yes.
How is the math involved?
So for something like embroidery, for a design, what we do is we look at the design and see how many stitches this will cost. Based on the stitch count is how we will determine the price. So depending on the stitches, which is $1, normally $1 per 1,000, that design there looks about 9,000 stitches. So I would say it would be around $9 per piece.
For this
Yes,
stitch.
for that embroidery there.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Now, before we leave, can you quickly tell us what's happening on the table right here?
So here we have orders that have been filled, and what happens here is the person that is actually checking in this order here needs to be able to count, use numbers, make sure that they're counting in per piece. Like here, there's 2 small, 7 medium. Those numbers need to be precise. When they're checking in orders, those numbers need to be counted exactly how the order reflects.
So the shirts are ready, they're stacked and ready to go, so tomorrow when they come in, they'll be putting the design, whatever it is, on those.
That's exactly what would happen. And they have their orders here, which would tell them what this order would be getting, what design will be put on these items. So.
Well, thank you for taking your time out today, for showing us around. So there's other departments?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We have many more departments here.
Okay, show us another one, Stella.
This is the heart of screen printing right here. This is where everything comes in on a daily basis. We order and everything comes in, and our shipper receiver, he has to count, and he has to be able to count up to 12, because mostly everything that we order is in dozens. And so every day he opens up these boxes, and every day he puts everything on the shirt, on the tables. And so he has to count everything and make sure that it matches our receiving. So everything here has to match here, because this is what the customer wants. So you can't make a mistake in counting. We cannot make a mistake in counting, because either the customer will not get enough, they'll be missing pieces in their order, or they'll get too much and we'll be losing money because we printed what we shouldn't have printed.
And that's what's happening on all these tables as we walk
Yes,
by. Those are already counted orders.
All of these, everything is counted here, and all the receivings are here. Every order is counted 4 times. When it first comes in, when it gets on here, it's recounted. Everything is in dozens. If you can see here, everything is in dozens. So if you want to work here, you have to be able to count to 12. And you think it's not easy, but it isn't. So these are all here. They have to count the shirts again before they print them. And then when they come off of the dryer, as you can see them coming off the dryer, the guy here at the end of the dryer has to count them again. And so here he puts them again in dozens, stacks of dozens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And there they are.
And then obviously from here they're boxed up, correct?
Yes, and then they're put into boxes, and you can only put 6 dozen in a box. So 6 dozen in a box is 72 shirts, and you can't put more than 72 shirts in a box because then it's too heavy to pick up, and then the bottom falls out.
Okay,
yes.
Well, we have so much more. There's so much going on here, but we got to go back to the studio. So when you come back, we have a lot more from Wall Street Imprintables. So back to you at the studio.
All right, thanks for that, Marylou, and all of the different departments out there. We certainly do appreciate the work they do on our shirts for Do the Math. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30 on most Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We have the 5th grade call-in contest going on during the month of November. Right now, we're going to go to the phones. And Serena, how are you this afternoon?
I'm good.
Good. And are you working on an equation by chance?
Yes.
All right, as soon as you're ready, let's hear what that problem is.
Okay. It's 5, open parentheses.
Okay,
N
5 open parentheses. Go ahead.
Yes, n
Yes.
plus 10.
Plus what? What was that next number?
10.
10 plus 10. All right.
Yes.
Do we close the parentheses?
Equals 45.
Equals 45.
Yes.
Plus?
Plus,
Plus?
yes, 3.
Plus 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Open parentheses.
Close parentheses.
No, open parentheses.
Okay, open parentheses.
N
N
plus 1.
plus, what was that number?
1.
Plus 1.
Close parentheses.
Close parentheses. Is there anything else?
Nope.
Awesome. Okay, here we go. All right, so we have this beautiful equation right here. So taking a step back, it looks like what we'll do is we'll use the distributive property, and we're going to distribute 5 amongst the numbers inside the parentheses. So 5 times n will give us 5n, and then 5 times 10 is going to give us 50. And then moving on to the right side of the equation, we're again going to focus on distributing the 3. And so we'll distribute the 3, and we'll go 3 times n is 3n. And then we're going to add to it 3 times 1, and 3 times 1 is 3. And then we'll go ahead and combine with the 45. So what we've done is that we're following our order of operations, and we distributed first with our multiplication. And so next, what we do when we see this equation is that we're going to go ahead and combine like terms. So everything on the left is already combined. We now look on the right and go, which terms could we combine that are alike? And we can see that we could combine 45 and 3. So we'll go ahead and combine 45 and 3. We'll make that 48. And then we'll go ahead and bring down the 3n. And then the left side of the equation, we'll go ahead and rewrite what's there. So now we have 5n plus 50 is equal to 48 plus 3n. So from there, we look at this equation like a balance is the same as. When you look at the equal sign, we can also think about an equal sign meaning the same as. So 5n plus 50 is the same as is 48 plus 3n. So as we solve this, we can remove things from each side, or we can add things to each side, and it'll be equal or still the same as. So we're going to go ahead and we'll subtract 3n from each side of the equation. And so when we subtract 3n, Hey, Mike, could you slide things up a little bit? Awesome. We get 2n plus 50 is the same as 48. And now we're looking at this problem. Now we're going to take a look at the 50 and the 48. So if we subtract 50 from each side, we now get to 2n is equal to negative 2. And that's because this 50 minus 50 goes to 0. So now we have 2n equals negative 2. And now for the grand finale, if 2n's is negative 2, well, let's divide each side by 2. Then we're now left with n is equal to negative 1. All right. So does that help you out?
There you go. I think we dropped her phone call. I heard a
we heard a
tone,
drop.
like it hit a button or something on there.
Okay.
So I think Serena, something happened on the line right there. But hopefully Serena's still viewing the program and can see that problem worked out, and hopefully that helps her out. And by all means, if you need some more help with those equations, we do have phone tutors available until 5:30. Right now, Joost, if you want to get rid of all of the information that you have up on that board, and I'm going to pose a little challenge for you and Serenity here.
Okay.
So let's see if we can get rid of that.
There we go.
All right. So I'll need you to put some squares up there. So you can either put them up or you can draw them up. It's up to you how you'd like to do this.
I think I'm going to draw them up.
Okay. So we need them to look like one on top of another, like fractions.
Okay.
We're going to need 4 sets of them all together.
4 sets of them all together. So like this.
There's 1 set, right, and we'll need 3 more sets, and leave space in between for operational symbols.
Ah, yes, the classic operational symbols. I think you're referring to like add, subtract, multiply, divide. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, so those are the classics. Oh, there we go.
And we'll put an equal sign at the end of those.
An equal sign.
There you go.
And now another set of squares.
Right.
All right.
All right, and in between set 1 and 2,
we'll
put a little box.
A little box, like
so
this?
We can put our symbol in there.
Okay.
And the same thing between 2 and 3.
Oh, and so you're going to put like add, subtract, multiply, divide signs inside of here.
Right, and at the end, it will be 4 over 5.
4 over 5, so I'm going to put, so 4 over 5.
All right, and you guys will be able to use the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to fill in the other boxes, where you'll have 3 fractions where once you add, subtract, multiply, or divide, will come out to equal 4/5. You have Serenity to help you, and you will have 4 minutes to do this in.
My goodness. Okay, so we can use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we can use add and subtract. So what do you think, Serenity?
Well, let's start with the top.
Okay, start at the top.
Do we only get 1 use of each number, or can we use each number more than once?
You can only use each number once. And the 4 and 5 don't count already. You can use all 6 of those in those 6 boxes.
Okay.
So what do you think we could do?
To get 5, you could do... We could do 4 plus 2 minus 1.
Oh, 4 plus 2 minus 1. Okay, going across. But these are going to be fractions. So we've got to look at.
We need to.
So we have to look like this plus or minus this plus or minus that.
I'll give you a head start here.
You're going to give us a head start?
In the first 2, we're going to start with 4/5.
Oh, okay. All right, so here we go. So we have 4/5.
So then we can cross it out.
Okay, we cross that out. So we got 4/5.
So now we need to get from 4/5 to 4/5.
That's right. So what if, I'm going to talk out loud, what if we added something and subtracted the same value? Like equivalent.
Okay. We could...
So what could be the same or the equivalent?
1/2 and 3/6.
1/2 and 3/6?
Yes.
Would you like to write that?
So you could do 1/2. I'm going to add that. Then you subtract 3. 6.
Okay. And so what do you think? Does that work?
Yes, I believe so. Because whenever you divide both of these by 3, you get 1/2.
Okay. Very good. So if you divide both of these by 3, oh, did you see that? Was that just magical or what? So here we go. So, so you have 3/6, and so you said you can make that equivalent to 1/2.
Yes.
Well, you didn't say equivalent. You said divide by 3, so that's the same thing as 1/2.
Yeah.
So 1/2 minus 1/2. What's 1/2 minus 1/2?
Nothing.
Nothing. And so you're left with something, which was 4/5.
Yes.
And that's your answer.
The answer.
There you go, nicely done. So reasonably, you just think through this thing, and knowing that you start with 4/5 and end with 4/5, and then as you guys were talking about, get something equivalent where you can have a value and take away the same value, nothing will change from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
All right. So here's
That
what
was
we're going to do.
good thinking.
Erase the numbers 1 through 6. Leave the 4/5 the same at the end. So erase all the numbers in the other boxes.
There you go. All right.
So what's going to happen is I'm going to have you guys think about another way to get all of those 6 numbers rearranged in different ways, obviously, to equal 4/5. All right, so you guys are going to be able to work on that?
Okay, so we're going to do this.
So get rid of the 4/5 first.
This one.
Right.
Yep. Okay.
And I'm going to give you guys a couple of seconds to kind of start, and then we're going to go out to Wall Street Imprintables, and while we're out there, you guys will have all that time to work on this problem. So Serenity, there won't be a starting point like 4/5, and you can't start with 4/5.
Okay.
All right, so those are going to be the limitations on you working it out this time. So while they're working on that, just a reminder that we do have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon. It is the beginning of the 5th grade calling contest. We have that going on all during the month of November. While
So
Serenity and Joost are working on this, we're going to head back out one more time to visit with Marylou and our friends at Wall Street Imprintables.
We are back live at Wall Street Imprintables with owner Stella Webby, and we kind of finished talking about the tables, well, the shirts on the tables,
Yes.
but there's something special about the tables.
Yes. When we first started the business, we just had tables, just solid tables. So Dominic would have to pick up this pile of shirts and take it and put it on a table. So we were constantly moving from here to here in our small little shop that we had. So we came up with the idea of doing shirt dogs. That's our name for them. And we came up with we created these shirt dogs. So now they move. And you can put as many shirts. We have piled these up probably about 6 feet high at times. And now the guys can grab this and they can move it to their station as they're printing. So all these jobs are in order. All these jobs are in order. So they know the next job to do is that. The next one is here. And they just go and they just pull the shirt dog.
And they'll just move so easy because
Yes.
I'm watching you and you're just like, I mean, they're piled with shirts and you're just like, whoop,
Yes.
moving it. Now, obviously it took some different designs.
Yes, we tried a couple of different designs and we got the right height for everybody so that nobody's bending down, nobody's reaching up. And we put coasters on the bottom so that they can move. And we keep making them over and over and over.
Trial and error,
Yes.
just like the kids need to learn. Okay, we fail first, we'll try it again.
Exactly.
So now, the most important part, your art department.
Yes.
Can you take us to your art department?
Yes, we can.
Now this is kind of where all the
Bye, Russell!
brain comes from.
This is where all the art happens. This is where the creativity happens. This is Jody here. She's our young artist, very young, straight out of high school. And we saw her potential. And this is Jameson. And the special thing about them, and this is Jody. This is Lacey, where Lacey sits, but Lacey isn't here right now. Anyways, the special thing about Jody and Jameson is that they can both hand draw. The same thing with Lacey. They can all hand draw. So they all start here.
Can you kind of show us what you do on this, how you kind of create a picture or a design?
Yeah. So a lot of times, the biggest thing is always starting off with my rulers up here. I have rulers right up here, and everything needs to be a certain dimension, and that's the biggest thing first, is I always carry a tape measure with me. I'm always measuring the different garments. And once I have the size, then I'll go through and start designing everything, whether it's text and, you know, do.
How many different fonts do you have?
How many different fonts? I have a lot. We have
Thousands of fonts?
Yeah,
Yes.
thousands and thousands of
How long
fonts.
have you been doing this?
I've been doing designing now for about 12 years.
How has it changed over those 12 years with technology?
Oh, it's changed a lot. Like she said, everything used to be hand drawn, and now we can take a sketch and scan it into the computer and digitize it, and, you know, print it that way instead of doing everything by hand.
In the old days, because I was also an artist for my husband, and we would have our design, and it would be done in a one color, and we had this thing called ruby lift, and we would put it over it, kind of like glued, not glued, but it was kind of sticky right over the design, and you would have to take an X-Acto knife and cut each color that you wanted, and then you would peel off the ruby lift, put some more on, so for each color, and then we would burn it. And then that's the next part we're going to be going to, is the screen department. But that's how art has developed, from hand doing everything with an X-Acto knife to now Jameson does everything here on the screen.
It's instant gratification. Like,
But he also draws,
Yeah.
scans it, and then he creates
it and adds.
Which are these some of your
Yeah.
creations?
Yeah, I did my own face.
Those are amazing. Those are really amazing.
Thank you.
Nice job. Well, thank you so much for sharing this
Yeah,
with us.
no
So
problem.
from here,
Yes.
can you show us where it goes to?
Exactly. We're going to see how the screens are made, how the art is taken from there and it's put in here. So this is our screen room here. Okay, so this is where the art goes. From the art department, it goes to the Kiwo. This is called a Kiwo machine. So you can see here, the art comes here and it would be here, and then from here we put a screen here and it actually prints
The picture on there. I
the
saw this
picture.
earlier.
Yes,
Yeah.
it actually prints it on there.
And then from here,
And from here, it goes here, and this is kind of like, it's like a photo. So we would put it here and we would expose it for about 20 seconds, and then this is what would happen. It comes out like this. So everywhere you see here, everywhere where you see the light color, that's where the ink will go through to make this design.
because the light kind of has burned
Yes,
into that.
exactly.
Wow,
And this
Stella.
is a one color job here.
It has been wonderful. There's so much more we
Yes.
can continue with. Wonderful. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. And here's just a little gift for you to thank you for allowing us to come today.
All right, thank
and we
you.
could continue on and on. It's just
Yes.
amazing. And what
Yes.
you and your husband have created. Thank you, thank you. And again, thank you for Elaine's visit today. It's been wonderful.
Exactly.
All right, so back to you at the studio.
All right, thanks for that, Marylou and Stella, and everybody at Wall Street Imprintables. Thank you also to Serenity for coming in, Joost for visiting us from upstairs, and until we meet again, continue to do the math.
Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, California Resources Corporation, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, and the San Luis Obispo County Office of Education, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.